going to check in on some teams impacted by major changes on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to start in Detroit, where star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown looks to put Lions' offensive struggles in the rearview mirror.
You don't need to say it's a white elephant. We feel like as an offense, maybe this camp, there has been some struggles for us as an offense, but I think that's normal. You got new coaches, different things, moving parts, and you're going against a really good defense every day. For us as an offense, we know, the ability that we have, the playmakers we have, the quarterback we have, the O-line. So it's just a matter of time for us to just keep getting better, improving. Like I said, that's the name of the game for us right now. And as long as we can just keep stacking days, I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, so maybe some hiccups in camp, but man, this Lions offense was elite with Ben Johnson as offensive coordinator. Moving on from that, of course, that they ranked top 5 in both points and yards per game in each of his 3 seasons. It was a huge improvement from where the Lions were, as they ranked 20th or worse in those categories in 2020 and 21. Jeremy, what are you hearing about how the Lions offense has adjusted to new offensive coordinator John Morton?
Well, Laura, Morton has brought a different flavor to Lions camp than Ben Johnson had. From what it was told to me, Johnson was the type of quarterback who would stand back 20, 30 yards away. He would have the radio. He would call in the play to Jared Goff. Well, John Morton will be there in the mix as Goff's making a throw in between plays, talking to him in guys' faces a little bit. So it's sort of been a different change, maybe a welcome change to some, not good or bad, just something they've had to adjust to. But this is going to be hard to mess up because the Lions, from what I saw at their camp, they're even more talented than they were a year ago. Also watch for Jared Goff to have more ownership on this offense. He's in his 10th year now. He told me he's more comfortable speaking up with Morton. They already have a good chemistry. He'll tell him if he doesn't like something or if he wants to run a play that they're not utilizing enough.
So Morton walks into a great situation. As Jeremy alluded to, the Lions are still stacked offensively. I think for him, there's 2 challenges, though, in replacing Ben Johnson. One is the Lions do have change on the interior of their offensive line, center guard position. So if there are struggles early on, Morton has to show, can he make adjustments to that? Maybe it's a different style of run game. Maybe it's more quick game. Whatever it is, that's going to be important early on. And then something that Ben Johnson was fantastic at was play sequencing. So often when you watch the Lions, it felt like they would call a run in the first quarter that would set up a pass in the fourth quarter, and they were so good at attacking defense's weaknesses. That's another thing Morton has to prove. It's one thing, to be given the world's best ingredients, but a chef has to know how to use them, and that's something I think we're going to see early on with the Lions, whether or not he can do that.
Yeah, the Lions scored at least 30 points in each of their final 5 regular season games last year. We know how good they were, especially on that side of the ball. Let's go to Miami, where Tua didn't hold back when asked about the Dolphins' offensive struggles in camp this week. Here's what he said.
Well, some of the frustrating things, like I said, was we couldn't get ourselves jump-started as an offense. We couldn't gain that momentum to where, all we needed was one play and then jump-start the offense. I don't think you put this behind you. I think you got to face it head-on. Any of these challenges, any of these hardships that you go through as a team collectively, you got to look at it head-on. You got to face it. You got to look at it for what it is. You got to learn from it.
The Dolphins were one of the best offenses in the NFL 2 seasons ago. They ranked top 3 in points, yards per play, red zone efficiency, and pass yards. That changed last season with Tua missing 6 games. They dropped to 19th in points per game and 22nd in yards per play. It feels like this whole offseason in camp, especially, we've heard Tua have to stand up to the mic and say all these things. Bill, how big of a role does the run game play in the Dolphins getting this offense back on track?
It's essential. When this offense has been great, of course, Tua's been playing well, but it has been the run game that's propelled them forward. Think about that 70-point game against the Broncos. They had Devin Achane and Raheem Mostert getting big run games. They have not had the explosives, really, since that game in that season. Last year, they were down to 31st in the percentage of plays that went for 20 or more yards. That was down all the way from 4th the year before when that offense, as you said, was playing excellent football. This is not always going to be the most consistent offense. They're going to have, they're going to try some stuff with Mike McDaniel. Some stuff might not work. You might have some plays like this reverse that gets, lost for negative yardage. But if you can hit those big plays, that makes up for a lot of mistakes, strikes fear into opposing defenses. I think that's what they have to see more of, especially with Achane, who we all know has that talent. But can he do it consistently and create big plays consistently in this Dolphins offense?
2 objectives for the Dolphins. One is to be more physical on the offensive line, to Bill's point, be able to get those short yardage situations, goal line, touchdowns. They brought in some younger offensive linemen, drafted some guys they feel like will be really good. They're maybe not quite ready now. They're hoping by midseason they will find their stride. And the Dolphins have to get the most out of Tyreek Hill. It's funny, over the last week, I've talked to several teams who wonder if Hill will be an eventual trade target down the line, maybe closer to the deadline. I was told the Dolphins have no plans to trade him, so it appears that they are all in on Hill for 2025. He had a down year. He had to rebuild some trust this offseason with Tua and others after quitting on that last week of the season. He's got a lot of work to do, but he still draws 2 and 3 defenders almost at all times. The Dolphins are going to take advantage of that.
And the offense started yesterday's joint practice against the Bucs hot, but then struggled toward the end. This coming from our Steelers reporter, Brooke Pryor. She tweeted, Steelers and Bucs joint practice finished off with a 2-minute drill where the Steelers offense didn't pick up a first down. Pat Freiermuth confirmed. DK Metcalf dropped a pass on second down, but the overall sentiment was they needed to clean up a bunch of stuff. Now, the Steelers struggled to get anything going late in games last season. They scored 0. That's bad when the graphic just says a 0 on it. In the final 2 minutes of regulation where they were trailing, they were the only team in the NFL that failed to score a single point in that scenario. They lost 4 games by less than a touchdown and had the ball in the final 2 minutes each time. It just shows you that they had their chances but weren't able to get it done. Mina, what's going to be key for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense if they want to find success this season?
Sorry, I'm still laughing at whoever put together that graphic and just wrote 0. I think improving on that, first and foremost. A couple of things come to mind. They got to run the football better. That was clearly a priority for them. They drafted Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round. The offensive line is being reshuffled a little bit. But I think any offense with Aaron Rodgers that's successful in 2025 has to be led by a run game, first and foremost. The other thing with Rodgers that I think is really significant is he has to be better against the blitz. 30th in QBR last year when blitzed. You really saw at the end of last season defenses key in on that against him as the year went on, realizing he had trouble with it. So for Pittsburgh, that's obviously starts with pass protection. That's giving him outlets, and like Jonnu Smith, for example. But that can't repeat this year or he's really going to struggle.
Yeah, you mentioned Jonnu Smith, and I do think the tight end group is going to be maybe the difference here in how the Steelers approach their offense in 24 versus 23. Arthur Smith has always loved more 2-3 tight end sets. He's always loved Jonnu Smith, of course. Now he has him with Pat Freiermuth, with Darnell Washington. That is going to be a group where I think we're going to see a lot more 12, 13 personnel, 2, even 3 tight ends on the field, and that has been something Aaron Rodgers has been better with over the past 3 seasons. He is 15th in the NFL in QBR when he has 2 or more tight ends on the field over that stretch. 30th in QBR with 1 or less. So maybe, more tight ends split out wide or in line, maybe giving longer paths to those pass rushers, maybe creating some defensive mismatches, giving Rodgers opportunities to find linebackers in coverage, safeties in coverage, make his life a little easier against those blitzes.
Bill, you know Arthur Smith all too well. He loves him some tight ends. And when I visited Steelers camp and talked to people there over the last few weeks, it is obvious that they are going to use Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith a ton. And one player told me, hey, we might even be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, and we'll roll out 12 personnel. That's how comfortable Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith have come with those tight ends. So it's going to be a lot of those 2. It's going to be a lot of DK Metcalf. The question is, who emerges outside of that other group? Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. They need those guys in a big way.
Yeah, they've got the pieces. Just got to figure out who exactly is going to step up. The Steelers haven't ranked in the top 10 in points per game since 2018. That was a long time. That was like 7 years ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago. We're back on NFL Live. Let's get Jeremy Fowler in here with some top stories. Lots of news coming out of Cleveland this week. Jeremy, what's the latest there?
Yeah, lots of Browns here. I'll start with Isaiah Bond, receiver out of Texas. Oh, no, we're going Quinshon Judkins. Yep. I'm sorry.
All good.
Prosecutors have declined to file misdemeanor battery charges against Judkins dating or stemming from a July incident in South Florida. So that does set the stage for him to sign his rookie contract with the Browns. I'm told that is not done yet. That will likely be a fully guaranteed deal. When that does get done, he factors to be a major player for the Browns in their backfield this year if he can get on the field. Then Isaiah Bond. He was a wide receiver out of Texas who was not drafted, had a sexual assault case that affected his stock. He was largely projected to be a starting caliber player in the draft coming out, somewhere day 2, day 3 range. Didn't happen. Bond issued a statement thanking the Cleveland Browns for believing in me. I'm told there is no contract yet, but it looks like his NFL future should be resolved here in the near future. Now we got Dillon Gabriel. He is slated to start tomorrow against the Eagles. I'm told that he is trending in the right direction, is expected to start, but they want to make sure his hamstring issue is all good in the morning. So they're going to sleep on it. They're going to check on him tomorrow, make sure he can move around, evade pass rush, all that. Should be good to go. So it'll be Dillon Gabriel, and it will be Tyler Huntley. The rest of the quarterbacks are either hurt, or in the case of Joe Flacco, they're treating him like a starter. They're waiting until the 3rd preseason game for him to play.
All All right, so we'll see. Sounds like a chance to see Gabriel potentially, maybe if not a lot of Snoop Huntley. But Bill, let's say Gabriel's getting the starting nod tomorrow. The hamstring's all fine. What will you be watching from him?
I want to see what kind of offense the Browns are running with him, because he was in a system at school where it was a very spread offense, a lot of RPOs. That's not what the Browns are going to do. They are not built to do that with this roster. It is going to be more run game, it's going to be more quick game, and it's going to be more throwing downfield. And that's some of the questions people had about Dillon Gabriel heading into the NFL. Does he have the arm to throw outside the numbers? Does he have the arm to throw deep, maybe off a play action? And I want to see if the Browns put him in opportunities and situations where he can do that in this game. Is he just running a simple offense just to try and keep things going? Or is this more of a job interview? Is this more of a, hey, can you do these things that we're not maybe sure you can do when it comes to Sunday? Can he do it now? If he does it, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for him to maybe win that roster spot with really his best chance to get significant playing time this week.
Yeah, again, I mean, the pressure is on for those quarterbacks. Of course, Shedeur Sanders is dealing with the oblique injury, but he had a nice showing in his chance in the preseason. It's Dillon Gabriel's turn now.